This is Caramel from the Regular Sweets. Today I'm going to go on a walking tour around my village and also talk about stuff that happened while I was a child. It was a Regular Sweets hangout about childhood games, but unfortunately the hangouts are held when I'm at work, so I always miss them. Well, so I'm going to do it today. This is actually a compilation of clips that were filmed on 3 separate days. Because of this, you might notice that I seem to teleport around at random. But don't worry about that. This is my street. Pretty narrow, as you can see. Still, it looks nice in the spring and summer when all these trees are blossoming. Not much different from when I was a kid, only there's a few more houses now. And also the houses are much cleaner. This village has got middle class in recent years. People take a lot more pride in their appearance now. When I was young, there's a concrete wall behind these hedges. And when we were kids, we used to go and hide behind it. But now they've built houses there instead. The other side of the concrete wall, I think it's some sort of grotty old stable. I should have urban explored it, but I didn't think of that when I was 10. And this used to be a big conker tree. This whole area down here would get covered with conkers. Whenever I dream about being a kid again, these garages are always in a dream. Although my actual childhood had nothing to do with them. One of the main things in my childhood was this spy agency we had. It was called gunshot. It was called either RDM or Eagle Spy Agency, or mainly anti-bully. Although actually the supposed bullies we were fighting were often people that we just didn't like, and some of them might even have thought we were bullying them. But anyway, we used to spy on the play park up there, and down at that corner was a place called Point A, and here was a place called Point B. And you used to be able to see through these hedges and watch the park. And also, my friend once dropped his bike down there when he was trying to get it into this field. And this hedge used to be a lot taller. Where this pile is used to be Point C, although this pile wasn't there when I was a kid. But it would have been useful if it was, because we could have hid behind it. And here's a water pump thingy. Don't know what that does. It's a multi-hazard site. It used to be a great path to cycle along when I was young. It's all hard, compacted mud, slightly bumpy, so we used to come racing along here as fast as possible. And when I was young, this hedge wasn't here. You could see right over the fields. But now you can't, especially in summer when there's leaves on it. These bushes are a lot thicker too, they've all been cut back. Used to go and hide stuff in them. Used to be a stile here, which is like a fancy name for 2 planks of wood you can climb over. People can climb over it, but animals like horses and that can't. And here's the allotments, which are like little tiny gardens people can rent out and grow stuff on. A lot of these were started during the First World War to grow extra food for the country because the Germans were sinking all the ships. This was probably just an empty field before then. And this is the school's nature area, which used to have a sort of rickety old crappy fence that we used to climb over. We normally weren't allowed in it, so we used to come over after school and climb over the fence and get in it, which is ever so rebellious. And this was one of our hideouts. Not much there now. Don't know what that thing is. Some kid's amazing invention, no doubt. It's a school playground again. When I was really young, sort of 5 or 6, one of these trees had an X engraved into it, so we called it the X space, which was supposedly some amazing place, and you could go underground and there was all sorts of spaceships and really cool cars buried under there. But yeah, it was just a tree. Oh, and also when I was at school, all them climbing frames and things weren't there either. Kids these days are spoilt. This one's been here since at least 1990. Actually probably earlier, because it looked old even then. This is the play park. A little bit different to when I used to come here. This little snaky path was there though. And so was that bench. But where that thing is, castle or something, used to be 2 hills with a slide down one of them. It was great fun to ride up and down them on the bikes. And over there is where the swings are. See from the concrete that used to be a much bigger area. And just as I was getting too old for the play park, that sort of rocket thing over there and that yellow ball were the newest things in it. Now they're probably the oldest things in it. Cricket pavilion over there. I'm sure it used to be smaller than that and a different shape. This is the all-weather playing area. We used to come here from primary school and play hockey sometimes. Seems much smaller than I remember. Those floodlights used to work, I don't know if they do now. Anyway, that was brand new in the 90s. Looks like the fence has been rebuilt since then. But the rest of it's kind of raggedy. Wonder if they still play hockey from the school here now. Oh, this was also new in the 90s. It's where all the equipment's stored. Not looking quite so good now. Looks like bullet holes. We used to go and scratch our names on it. I think it's been painted over several times since then. I find any authentic 90s graffiti. Oh. Looks like it says Cox there. Health and safety. Never had this during my day either. Well, it certainly wasn't a bus stop here when I was a kid. It's not even a road, it's just grass. Oh, I know. This is the village basketball hoop on the amazing basketball court, which looks like an old runway from World War II. And yeah, there's only one hoop on one side. Looking a bit tatty now. This place used to be another one of our secret hideouts. It was a lot more overgrown then. And this path here, we went through and started making a maze in this field one year when it had corn in it, which the farm wasn't too happy about. So this was the scene of one of the boys' own adventures our spy agency had, where a bunch of the oops, a bunch of the supposed bullies started up something called the Yellow Glove Gang, because one of them found an old yellow woolen glove, and after they annoyed us a bit, they came sneaking along this ditch, holding up the yellow glove as some sort of tribal warfare symbol, and we just got lumps of earth from over there and came riding over here on our bikes and chucked them at him. It was more like drive-by shootings. It's a sort of village fete thing that had happened in the school playground and also in the play park. And this guy had a ride on lawnmower with a trailer that he'd do up to look like Thomas the Tank Engine and a carriage, and give people rides around the field on it. Only one time we got our bikes out and went chasing it, pretending to be Red Indians on the warpath. But then we got told off and told not to do it because it was dangerous. We might get run over by the extremely noisy vehicle that goes at 4 miles an hour. This was another one of the main hideouts when I was young. You know, it looks like it's more official. Someone's actually cut an archway through the hedges. I think the entrance was slightly over to this side when I was a kid, and this was solid hedge. Let's go inside. You never used to be able to go that way. Must be some sort of official footpath now. But you could come inside here. Only it used to be a lot more covered. I remember hiding in here when it was raining really heavily once, and we stayed dry. And also, one of my friends told a really tall tale about his cat farting on a cold day, and the fart kind of turned into this long snake of misty smell that chased him all the way from his houses and all the way up here, and he just got into this bush, and then the smell turned around and started going back the opposite way. This whole path down here is new. This wasn't here when I was a kid, and if it had been, we would have gone riding our bikes along at ridiculous speeds. When I was young, over there was sort of a big hedge base thingy too, but now they've completely torn it all down and built a BMX track on it. But I don't want to get too close because there's some sort of automatic gas powered bird scare over there, and those things are extremely loud. But anyway, for a while the big bullies, the not bullies, but we called them bullies, and us lot all joined together to make a sort of big impressive hideout inside there. We even got some corrugated metal from God knows where and built a sort of hutch, but then we all fell out inevitably, and eventually it caught fire and got all burnt down. For a while I did have a lighter that one of the older boys had given me, but I had to keep it hidden up and was terrified of my parents finding it, partly because it was a lighter, so it was something adult that I wasn't allowed to have, but also because it said "this is my fucking lighter" on it. After the supposed bullies took over that base over there and this one over here, my dad told me that when he was young there was one sort of in the middle, and I should think this middle bit here looks completely different to what it did when I was a kid, and especially different to when he was a kid in the 50s. Anyway, we sort of excavated our own base, but then one of the bullies claimed that his dad had originally built that as well. And while we were excavating it, we had another sort of boys' own adventure where some kids who were the sort of older than us and not really bullies but pretended they were our friends, they got this sort of spooky looking blue mask and put it on, and we're all sort of chasing around the fields looking for the blue mask gang, and then they'd take it off and put it in their pockets and be like, "Can you see them? Where are they?" And then they'd run off and hide behind something and put the blue mask on, and then we'd see them running off in a different direction. People who read my comic might notice there's a blue mask gang in that. That's where I got the idea. I stood there yapping away about the blue mask gang, and this bloke walking his dog came right up behind me. And I'm checking out the new nature trail path. No childhood anecdotes connected to this place because it wasn't here when I was a kid. It was just some farmer's field. Although these sort of moss, ivy covered trees up here, my brother once insisted that there was a tree house in there, and it was full of all sorts of weaponry like brain guns and Uzis and grenades and bazookas. But I don't think I'll find any evidence of that today. Also, another anecdote from the park where the big base is now a BMX track, which also looks like it hasn't been used for years, was once me and my friend were sitting in the entrance of it with our backs to the field talking about vampires and ghosts and stuff, and then one of the sort of younger kids that we called a bully but he really wasn't came and sneaked right up behind us, and we didn't hear him. Suddenly I looked around and saw a shadow behind me and got really scared, thinking it was a vampire, and I looked around again and it was him, and he just burst out laughing. And then we started to have a sort of fight, and I ended up throwing a bit of wood at him and we ran away. And so the cat's been busy. Never noticed all those houses before. That tall one can't be recent though, it looks sort of Victorian and possibly even Georgian. Learn new things every day. Going back across the allotments now. This ploughed field here never seems to have anything growing in it. Oh, my friend who said his cat farted and the fart chased him right across the village used to live just over there, and the park is sort of over the other side of them trees, or hedges. Going down past the school to the main street. Of course the school's completely different to how it used to be when I was a kid. We used to come racing down these paths on our bikes at insane speeds as well. Not so much this path because you used to have to climb over the stile. There's a sort of turning onto this path at 90 degrees that we used to ride along. Once when I was at school, this used to be a lot less neat and tidy, and there was a sort of rusty old bike in the hedge which my friend said had been rocket powered and had crashed in there. Also a couple of times somebody dumped a box of leaflets with a sort of picture of a poison bottle on one side and some writing on the back, and a couple of times the wind caught them and blew loads of them into the playground. So we started insisting that they were recipes for poison, although we couldn't understand the words. It was probably actually the advert for some sort of underground rave thing, but we didn't know about that then. When I was young at school, I had lots of porta cabins. Looks like it still has one, which they've dumped directly on top of the old sandpit. Just dropped it down there. School, it's like a Shinto temple. It's even got the little streamer things hanging off it.